everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you're just dipping your toes into the world of public relations, or PR as we call it, you're going to quickly realize that PR and SEO cross paths all the time. Today, we're going to demystify that relationship by breaking down exactly how Google views press mentions versus backlinks. Let's get right into it. So, a question that comes up a lot are mentions and links identical? In this fast-paced industry, they honestly get treated as the exact same thing pretty often. A lot of beginners assume that if your brand gets a shout-out in a major publication, it automatically carries the exact same SEO value as a clickable backlink. But is that actually true? Well, spoiler alert, it's not. Google definitely does not treat these two signals the same way. Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the great PR and SEO myth. Look at backlinks as direct signals, mentions as trust builders, do a quick head-to-head comparison, and finally, look at how PR actually fuels SEO. All right, Section 1, the great PR and SEO myth. It's incredibly common to just assume a press mention automatically carries the exact same SEO value as a backlink. It makes sense on the surface, right? But the reality is Google treats them completely differently. Understanding this fundamental difference is absolutely crucial, especially if you're trying to figure out how your media outreach can effectively combine with your overall SEO strategy. Moving right along to Section 2, backlinks, the direct signal. Let's define our terms here to make sure we're all on the same page. A backlink is simply when one website links directly to another website using a clickable hyperlink. From Google's perspective, these backlinks act as a massive, glaring signal of authority and relevance. If multiple trusted websites take the time to link back to your content, it essentially tells Google that your site is highly credible and worth referencing. But here's the catch. Not all backlinks are created equal. Google actually evaluates them pretty rigorously. They're looking at things like the overall authority of the site that's linking to you, the relevance of the content itself, the actual context of the link, and crucially, whether the link appears natural or if it looks manipulative. Basically, they want genuine recommendations, not spam. To put that into perspective, a link from a highly respected major news publication that carries way more weight than a link from some random, low-quality directory site. For example, if a huge industry blog links directly to your article, that single link contributes heavily to your site's authority in that specific topic area. It's a huge win. Which brings us to Section 3, mentions, the trust builder. Now, a press mention is a slightly different beast. It happens when your brand, your company name, maybe a quote from your CEO, or a reference to your work shows up in an article, but there's no link. It's just the text. So a news article might highlight your business as part of a growing industry trend, but completely leave out the clickable link back to your homepage. So what does that mean for your SEO? Well, press mentions without links are definitely much more indirect in their impact. But don't write them off. Google is incredibly smart, and it can still understand those brand mentions and their context, especially when they pop up consistently across the web. If your brand gets mentioned multiple times in reputable publications, it strengthens your overall entity recognition. It builds trust even without passing that direct, measurable authority a link provides. Let's look at how they stack up against each other in Section 4, links versus mentions. The absolute simplest way to understand the difference is this. Think of backlinks as your direct ranking signals. They can directly influence a specific page's rankings and pass measurable authority. On the flip side, mentions are your indirect trust and relevance signals. Repeated mentions across media help build overall brand authority and recognition. One helps a very specific page rank higher, while the other strengthens how Google understands your brand's overall credibility in the wider digital world. And finally, Section 5, how PR fuels SEO. How do we actually combine these forces? PR becomes an incredibly powerful tool for SEO over time. And it happens through this sort of compounding snowball effect. First, you secure consistent PR mentions. Second, those mentions lead to increased branded search volume from curious readers. And third, those mentions often eventually turn into earned backlinks, giving you much stronger topical authority across a variety of media sources. I really want to highlight why this indirect stuff matters so much for your strategy. Even when your press coverage has exactly 0 backlinks, it is still contributing to your visibility. Think about it. Someone reads about your brand in the news. There's no link, but they're interested. So what do? They open a new tab and search for your company directly. That branded search behavior is a massive signal of relevance to Google. PR is influencing SEO right there, even when a link is completely absent. So, to wrap this whole thing up, Google treats backlinks and press mentions differently. Absolutely. But both still play a massive, critical role in how your brand is understood online. Backlinks give you that direct impact on rankings, while mentions build broader, long-term authority and recognition. When your PR and SEO work together in harmony, you build visibility in search and credibility in media. Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on today. As you plan out your strategies, ask yourself, are you optimizing for both visibility and credibility? Because if you want to win, you really shouldn't settle for just one. Think critically about how you can harness the direct power of backlinks alongside the indirect trust building of press mentions. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.